Ein sonniges Hallo aus San Diego, ich bin's, eure Vanessa. Wir sind für euch einmal um die halbe Welt gereist, denn hier in San Diego findet die nächsten 4 Tage die größte Comicmesse der Welt statt, die ComiCon 2011.
Quickly translate. Is that for you? Oh, it was for him. Okay, that's fine.
Well, both of you.
No, also for Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
Stan, what did you want to express with this? What is this comic for you, particularly?
Right. What were you trying to accomplish with the comic book with Yoshiki?
I was trying to really ride on the coattails of these two guys. I had met Yoshiki, and I found that at a charity event. I might add, he is one of the most charitable people. This event was for a very worthwhile charity, and all the money he was going to give to that charity. And I was very impressed with him. And then I found out that he's probably the biggest rock star in Asia, biggest musician. He's not only a rock star, he's a classical pianist and musician. He plays piano, trumpet, and God knows how many other instruments. And the people there are crazy about him. I've seen films of his where you see thousands of people cheering and yelling at his concerts. Being with him is like being with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones rolled into one. And you're going to learn that as he starts coming over here and doing his concerts. So anyway, at the party, we got to talking. And he said that he was doing a music video and would I do a little cameo in it. And I'm usually reluctant to do that sort of thing, but I said, for you, I'll do it. And I play the devil. And, well, you'll see it when it comes out. But anyway, we got friendly, and I realized this is a very special guy. And somehow the idea came up to do a comic book where Yoshiki would be based on a real person, but fiction. He would be the hero, but we would create a whole new identity for him. And it would be something that would even incorporate music. In the first issue we did, there'd be a little thing where when you open it up, you hear some notes of music. So I wanted it to be great, so I said to myself, we've got to find the greatest guy to do a book of that sort. And I told Yoshiki, I know this guy, Todd McFarlane, who had created Spawn, who had done the biggest selling comic book of Spider-Man that had ever been produced.
More than Stan's.
And I mean, there were a lot of other guys I wanted, but they weren't available. So I went to Todd, and he jumped at the idea. He liked it, especially after meeting Yoshiki and hearing his music. And that was how it started. The idea for the book was really mostly Yoshiki's. I wrote on his coattails. Then we told Todd about it, and Todd will tell you, if I ever stop talking, that Yoshiki is not your usual celebrity where you do something in his name and he pays no attention. Take it, Todd.
No, well, let's get Yoshiki to answer her question.
What was the question?
Her question, Yoshiki, was with comic books. Is that something that's new to you or old to you? Like, have you done it before? Have you done it before, or is it something that's new?
Well, it's, well, I grew up in Japan, so I'm very familiar with Japanese animation and Japanese manga. But since I live here, I started paying attention to more comic book as well. But first time I met Stan at my party, I was sitting next to him. Then I told him, like, I want to start my career here in America. Then I asked him, how am I going to make it through? He said, you already made it. Like, how? Because you met me. Like, oh, great. So everything started from here. Then, yeah, then actually this is also a learning process for me to, be working with Stan and Todd. I mean, I knew that Stan taught like a god of this, comic. But more I work with them together, I learn a lot of things every day. Then it's something we can like cross over between Japanese manga world or such comic world too. I'm very excited to be part of this project.
Very good. Most I've heard this man talk since I've known him. Pretty soon there'll be no stopping him. We won't be able to get a word in edgewise.
And that's tough. That's tough for Stan.
Rocia Ayuso from Spain. For the three of you, I guess you had different experience with the world of comic, but in particular with ComiCon. For you two, I mean, Todd and Stan, obviously you have been here almost every year, I imagine. So I wonder, how has it evolved? Has Hollywood taken the best of the comic world? And for you, Yoshiki, how is, from what you have seen, how can you compare ComiCon to one of your concerts? Because they are massive in Japan, so, I mean, and all over the world. So how can you see you fitting with the crowd at ComiCon?
Oh, me? What was the question?
Should I start?
Forgive me, I cannot tell through a mic.
Well, you start, and then we'll go. She wants to know his experience of the ComiCon versus a concert, and then they want to know how we've seen it evolve over the years, which is slightly different than his answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so interesting question. Our band also, my life is always like a comic book story or manga story. It's little beyond, ordinary life. So I always thought, I mean, it's kind of weird for me to say, but I could fit some kind of character. But because of Stan and Todd, they made me a superhero. That was beyond my expectation. That's so nice to be a superhero.
And then to go back to the original question, then I'll give you my experience, which is slightly different, I'm sure, than Stan's, because he's older than me, so he's seen more of it.
Mine is much better.
Yeah. The first ComiCon I went to was probably 1983, and it was held at the small hotel. I don't know how many you've been to. It was a small hotel downtown here, and it was the San Diego Comic Con. Right? Just so we know, the Comic-Con part of it is a misnomer now, right? It should be San Diego pop culture. So the evolution has been that it was 98% comic books, comic book people, comic book talking. We all stayed at the same hotel. We all sort of, at night.
The cheapest one we could afford.
Yeah, we weren't doing okay. But now fast forward now 30 years, and what we've seen is it grow from comics to comics and posters, manga, toys, TV, movies, video games. I mean, all of this is going, and has all of that expanded, then Hollywood started coming in, and the video people started coming in. And so now what used to be when I used to walk up and down the line, it was all comic book people, right? That, to some degree, depending on where you're at, Stan Lee and I, in our heyday, we were royalty walking, right?
Damn right.
Yeah. So, but now you've got people that are coming to see the celebrities. People are coming to see the new trailer.
Come to see him.
Yeah, there are people here now to see a musician that's here. So the dynamics of it have shifted from it being myopic to really being sort of multicultural, although we still keep the word Comic-Con on it, which I think it confuses sort of somebody who's never been here at how wide-ranging it is. I keep telling everybody that I meet, you should go to the San Diego Comic-Con at least once in your life. I'm not saying because you have any interest in comic books. I'm saying because it's pop culture and we live in it after we're done sort of working or doing our schoolwork. And you should experience it once, because I find it hard to believe that any human being can walk into that room downstairs and not see something that's intriguing to them. From their school, from when they were a kid to current. I don't care how much you say you're a stuffy accountant. If you walk in that room, I bet you if you walk around enough, you're going to see something going, oh, I had that when I was a little boy or something.
Usually some girl in a skimpy costume.
Yeah, or that, right? Again, just the eye candy of it is tremendous too. So everybody should go. Old or young should come to it once.
There's another big difference. Years ago when you were talking about it, when it was a Comic-Con, it was usually a lot of kids running around, comic book fans. An occasional adult, they would drag their father because maybe they were too young to come by themselves. Now, you walk along the ComiCon, it's all adults. An occasional kid because the grown-up couldn't find a babysitter. It has totally changed from kids to grown-ups.
When I used to go, when I used to tell people I was going to San Diego Comic-Con, you had to say it with a whisper, right? With your head bowed.
This man has never said anything with a whisper.
but now people say they're going to Comic-Con with bravado, because now the great thing about it turning into a pop culture event that has comic books is that comic books have now infested the world, right? I mean, with the success of Spider-Man and Batman, and then we did some Superman, but then all of a sudden, very quickly, X-Men movies, and now we've got 4 superhero movies just this summer, that saying that you follow comic book type related material is not something that you have to hide in the closet, which I used to. I mean, I was the classic closet collector, that I put them in my closet, literally, and then people would come and I'd close up the closet so they couldn't see it, and you were a little bit shy. I have to tell you, everybody, I always found it odd, because they'd sit there and they go, "You collect comic books?" And they look at me and they go, "Oh," and they put their nose up and they go, "Todd, you're a little bit mentally arrested." But I would ask them, "Well, what are you doing this weekend?" And they go, "Oh, we're going to go see a movie." And the movies were generally Indiana Jones, Star Wars, James Bond, or some action movie that to me are complete comic book movies. They just didn't originate from a comic book. So we've now just taken a little bit of control of the PG-13 action sort of film industry, and now comic books are cool, and which is good. We can now walk around and be proud of what we do.
And
okay,
now,
I'm so sorry.
With the advent of Yoshiki, comic books have come of age. How's that for a great curtain line?
Great way to wrap it up. I'm so sorry we can't do any more questions. We've got to go to our next set of interviews. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, we can't. I can't. We've got to get going.
One photo?
No, we can't.
One photo? 2 photos?
Seriously.